Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for joining us today in this sharing of the gems and nectar from Srimadbhagavatam. Let's start with the invocation prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiriyet shrotam swakatha krishna punya shravana kirtanaha hridayantasto hya bhadrani vidunoti suhatsatam nashta prayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavatir Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So the last two verses that we did in the invocation prayers are the two verses that we'll be covering. And then there is a third verse which really reveals the benefit one attains when following the instructions given in these two verses. So let's get started with the very first verse. Srimadbhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, verse 17. Shavatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtanaha Hridayantasto He Bhadrani Vidhunoti Suhatsatam. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Hare Krishna, please join us for Guru Pranati so that we receive the blessings from the Acharyas and the Guru Parampara. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshtarine Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tadaham Vande Shri Gurum Dina Taranam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, Shavatam Swakatha Krishna, what should we hear? We should hear about the glories, name, form, activities, pastimes of Lord Krishna. And this is Punya Shavanaki. So, this is, Punya is, it's purifying, it's very auspicious. And this Kirtan refers to Kirti, the glorification. So we are hearing about the glorification. So when we hear, Acharyas reveal that Lord Krishna, he enters our heart through the ears. Of all the 9 processes, the most important and most effective is Shravana, which is, sometimes we see like at the end, is the best one. But in this case, Shravana is the best one of all the 9 processes because even a child can practice this. And whatever abhadrani, whatever inauspiciousness, bhadra means auspicious. And inauspicious is abhadra. So all those inauspiciousness, which are represented by 6 types of evil things, which is lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, and illusion. So again, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsara. So all this negativity that comes. But of all them, we know that again, there are 2 which are causing the birth of all the other kind of inauspicious things, inauspicious aspects in life. First one is thinking I am this body. And so when we think I am this body, we associate with the various designations associated with the body. And that causes envy to arise in our heart. And because of that envy, we become jealous of others. Like he is this and she is this, and we try to become, even the pauper is proud of his penny. So we have become very proud in our state. But at the same time, we hear from the acharyas that pride cometh before falls. Of course, yes, we should not be proud. Rather, we should always be humble. Tranadapi sunijena tarurapi sahishuna amani namana dena kirtanya sadhari. So what are the four things in the third verse of Shri Shastaka Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reveals? Tranadapi sunijena tarurapi sahishuna. Become more humble than the grass on the street, more tolerant than the tree. And amanina manada. Amanina, don't expect man from others. And manadina, be ready to give all respect to others. And what is the topmost engagement? Kirtaniya sadahari, always engage in glorification of Lord Krishna. Always chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now it's very interesting. We're talking about becoming more humble than the grass on the street. Well, if you're in front of someone senior, someone with power, someone who's more rich than you, someone who's more famous than you, then of course it's automatically, the tendency is to act humble. But that's not true humility. True humility is revealed when we are with someone who's not so capable, with someone who's younger to us, with someone who has some disadvantages. But we give them proper respect, that manadena. So that humility is also reflected in our attitude towards all other living entities, not making distinction between who is, rich and who is poor, who is white and who is black, not giving any distinction, who is older than us or younger than us. Ready to give all respect. Give as much respect to one who is younger to you as you give to someone who is older than you. So this is a secret to happiness, because all inauspiciousness goes away. More tolerant than the tree. So when a tree is alive, all life, the trees are constantly serving. They're giving us various kind of, wood, fruits, flowers, various kind of herbs that come from there, as well as, vriksha. That's what they're called. And that vriksha means that which is meant to be cut down. And even when cut down, it gives us the wood from which we can make houses and make various other things. So even after life, they continue to serve. So that is tolerance. And amanina, not expecting any respect for oneself. Now, this is something very important, because, my dear devotees, when we are trying to get someone's recognition that, we are good in their eyes, it's a very heavy task. And it just causes unnecessary trouble on our shoulder. When we are giving all respects to everyone, then automatically we are giving respect to, those who may be thinking that they have to approve our actions. But there is a greater personality, Lord Shri Krishna, who's actually approving our actions based on our service. So when we are performing our services, then of course, Lord Krishna is the one we are looking for approval, and that is what's giving us true enjoyment, again, true virtue in our hearts. Vidunoti suras satam. So again, it's establishing our heart in a state where all this abhadra, all inauspiciousness is driven away. And in this regard, I'm reminded of so many incidents in our lives that we play out every day. And Devi and I were discussing how sometimes, again, one person can act independently, but the best teamwork we have seen is, in marriage. Husband and wife, they come together and they are constantly supporting each other and they are constantly helping each other. Yet at the same time, they have their own desires. All actions in real life, as we observe, the Shastras are driven by four factors. Sometimes people act in fear. So animals, they're always fearful all their lives, right? Then the second is some actions are driven by lust. It's said that in the heavenly planets, the enjoyment, the lusty enjoyment is thousands of times than what you can experience on this planet, the earthly planets. So sometimes people are trying to advance to those. And then the third type is as a matter of duty. This is my duty. I'm a father, I have to take care of my children. I'm a husband, I have to take care of my wife. I am a household, I have to take care of my family and house and all the arrangements therein. I'm an employee, I have to take care of my employer. So again, all these different factors, these upadhis, when we think from that perspective, as a matter of duty comes in. But in reality, this even duty has an exchange aspect to it, right? So all these, the three categories I've mentioned, and the fourth one is, of course, out of love. And this is like selfless love, not the love the way you're expecting exchanges. While the previous three, the fear, action based on fear, action based on duty, and action based on lust, all these three, and there can be a combination of these three, are what is binding us in this material world. This is a selfless love when directed towards Krishna for the pleasure of Krishna, is what really establishes us in the right state. Jivera Surupaya Krishna Nityadas. So I'm reminded of a short story where a husband and wife, Rakesh and Rajni, they were having an argument over something. So, of course, Rakesh got a promotion. He wants to use the promotion money in a specific way. He comes home and his wife, Rajni, she has some other desires and they are, thinking, I want to use it for this and she wants to use it for this. And she's thinking, he wants to use it for this while I have been waiting for this. So they are constantly in a quarrel, and in that state, they are upset. They stop talking to each other. Now, they realize that actually, let's try to do something else. Let's get our mind away from this. So Rakesh says to Rajni, let's go for a drive. Let's not worry about all those things, whatever we talked about after I came from work. Let's just go on a nice drive, clear up our heads, and then we'll come back. And so they are on a nice drive. And now Rakesh is thinking, you know what? I'm the driver's seat. I have the power. So thinking this, he starts thinking of manipulating and trying to get Rajni to agree to his conditions, what he wants. And so he presents his proposal again. And Rajni is frustrated. She says, you said we should not discuss this. Rakesh says, no, actually, I feel it is my right to make my case very clear. I'm in the driver's seat. And she is really upset. And she puts a counter argument. Before you know, Rakesh is so upset. He's pressing the gas pedal and the car is like literally flying on the interstate. And suddenly they hear the cop's car, siren, from the back. He stops the car. And at that time, the cop comes over there. And he says, I don't see that you are wearing a seatbelt. He's like, oh, sir, I saw you coming, so I was going to respond. That's why I took it off. So you should never take off your seatbelt, no matter what happens. Okay, lesson learned. It seems like Rakesh, it was his first time that a cop had stopped him. They said, do you know, sir, how fast you were driving? The cop says. And he says, well, I may not be driving very fast. I was lost in my thoughts, so maybe I was distracted. She says, now Rajni uses this as an opportunity. Oh yeah, he's in the driver's seat. Okay, I'll tell him what kind of driver's seat that is. She says, sir, he always drives over 100. He always drives over 100. I keep telling him it's so dangerous. Cop says, you were actually driving at 110. It's like, I'm so sorry. And then the cop says, well, I see your tail light is broken. So when you applied the brakes, I couldn't see the brake lights on. And he says, yeah, yesterday while I was backing up, I hit a pillar and it just happened. Rajni uses this opportunity again. She says, oh, my dear sir, I've been telling him for last 2 weeks. Get the tail light fixed, get the tail light fixed. He says he doesn't have time to get it fixed. Now Rakesh is upset. Rakesh says, Rajni, will you just stop? Shut up. He's literally shouting at her. And the cops looks at Rajni and says, does he always talk to you like this? Rajni says, no, sir. Now Rakesh has a sigh of relief. And Rajni says, only when he's drunk. So even the speaking and hearing in this particular case is in a reactionary mode against each other. We can all understand what happens to Rakesh. But that reaction is shared by Rajni, because if something bad happens to husband, wife also suffers. Something bad happens to wife, husband also suffers. That's why husband and wife is the best unit identified as a team. Even in the Shastras, it is revealed time and again. And of course, in India, there is a saying, 1 + 1 is 11. So when we are looking at, serving any actions, then we have to understand the 4 factors that drive those actions. And if it does not invoke, attractions towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, if they are not performed, at least as a matter of duty or in love for Lord Shri Krishna, with that motive behind it, then of course, it is Shram eva hi kevalam. So, we have to understand that it is useless labor, and we should not spend the precious time of our lives in useless labor. Sometimes people become so egoistic that they think, oh, I will do this in my life, I will do that in my life. In Bhagavad Gita, it is revealed that the demonic people think that today I have gained so much, tomorrow I'll gain more. I have defeated all my enemies and I will continue to give charity. I will make some nice, presentations to all of the people all over the world, and I will become very famous, and those who are with me will glorify me. So this demonic mindset actually causes one to become very puffed up. And remember, pride cometh before fall. So we have to be very, very careful in our lives when we are, interacting with others. Our interaction with others should be in such a mood, in such a loving, humble, tolerant, and giving mood, that the other person, feels more attracted to what we actually want to give them, which is Krishna consciousness, which simply starts with the chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, hearing, desire to hear, it actually cleanses our hearts of all inauspicious things, because these inauspicious things keep us bound to this material world, the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. Janam, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, Dukkha, Doshanudarshanam. These are evil things in life. So we want to get away from evil and be with the good. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Devi. So let's come to the next verse. Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Dityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shoke Bhaktir Bhakti Nashtiki. By regular attendance in classes on Bhagavatam, Nityam Bhagavatam Sevaya, and by rendering service to the pure devotees. So there are 2 types of Bhagavatas that's being revealed. Srila Prabhupada in the translation is revealing this. That there is book Bhagavata and there is person Bhagavata. So a pure devotee. So when we serve a person Bhagavata, a pure devotee of the Lord, then what do we get? We get attracted to the hearing of glories of Lord Shri Krishna, which was the verse we covered last time. Shushusho Shaddadhanasya Vasudeva Katharuchi Syan Mahat Sevya Vipra Punyatit Nishevanat. Oh, toys-born sages. Who's saying this? Sutta Goswami is revealing to the sages at Naimisharya. But serving those devotees who are completely free from all vice. So they all already have all auspicious qualities in them. Bhadra, not abhadra. Abhadra is inauspicious. They're free from all vice. Great service is done. And what's the effect of this service? That one gets affinity, attraction, attention, affection for hearing the messages of Vasudeva, the name, form, activities, and pastimes of Lord Krishna. And that's why Shautam, again, this is saying that when we are in contact with those pure devotees, hearing from them, and of course, book Bhagavatam, when we read from Srimadbhagavatam, when we hear from the devotees of the Lord, when we hear in disciplic succession, then just like they are pure, we become pure. That is the effect of association. That we actually, it rubs on us that, purity. And now comes this verse, by regular attendance in classes on Bhagavatam, what happens? And of course, also person Bhagavata, by rendering service to them. And the services can be performed in two ways. What are the two ways we perform sevas? We perform either Vapu Seva or Vani Seva. Vapu Seva is service to their physical body. If they're thirsty, we bring them water or some nice sweet drinks. If they are hungry, we feed them nice prasadam. If they are looking for some help, we provide them all kind of help, providing some way of service to help them propagate Krishna consciousness. It's not just to their body, but with the focus on propagating Krishna consciousness that they are taking care of. And whatever is troublesome to the heart, whatever is disturbing in our heart, it gets completely destroyed. But what happens if you have a glass filled with liquid, right? And you realize that this all liquid is dirty. Then you say, I don't want to do anything with this liquid. I have to throw it away. So you throw it away, but then the glass is empty. Now you're thirsty. What do? You need clean water, right? So similarly, in that empty glass, you need nice clean water, nice liquid that will quench your thirst. So the loving service unto the personality of God. So similarly, when heart, whatever is troublesome, that's filling in our heart, whatever is disturbing us in our heart, gets completely destroyed and it gets filled with the loving service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Uttam Shloke, Bhagavati Uttam Shloke, Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So Uttam Shloke means Lord who is praised by the best of the poetry. Shloke, actually sometimes people talk of verses, they talk about glorifications, but shloka actually means poetry, the literal sense. And that loving service is situated in our heart, which is the goal of life, right? Love, that's what we're all seeking. What's the purpose of life? To attain love of Godhead. So it becomes fully established in our heart, and this is an irrevocable fact. Nobody can nullify this effect. So again, this is an important factor that we have to pay attention. But how does that happen? When we do it regularly. Not that we serve somebody, 5 years back. Now we are expecting everything. No, we have to be in that loving mood, giving mood, serving mood, in a humble state of mind, tolerating different things that go on around us, focusing only on serving. That is an important aspect. Giving respect to others. And Kirtaniya Sadhari. So we are engaged in that Kirtaniya Sadhari and serving the pure devotees, the Vaishnavas, the personalities who are, propagating Krishna consciousness. This is very important. Now somebody could say, well, I would do it once I have sufficient funds or once I am old enough, Till then, why keep all the impurities in your heart? Why? If you want to get rid of impurities, you want to get rid of impurities now. So in this case, Chanakya has revealed that we should be very quick in remedying three things. What are those three things? Fire to the house, we should immediately take care of the fire. We should immediately take care of the disease, and we should immediately take care of the debt that we have. We should never be under the debt. We should never continue to have fire going on in our house and ignore it, because it's going to burn us down one day. So we have to be very, very careful. Any instance we see a spark, we should be cautious. We should be And it's not just the physical fire, there are emotional fires, there are hidden fires, there's brewing happening under the surface. So all those things have to be addressed immediately. And debt also occurs in various ways. We should be very, very careful to take care of those immediately. And Radhakata Pita Shatru in the Shastra is again Chanakya, Pandit Chanakya. He reveals, a great Vaishnava, he reveals that a father who puts his children in debt is their enemy. That's also another reason why we should not act as enemy for our children by keeping ourselves in debt. We should immediately take care of the debt. And even though all these things are happening, somebody could say, well, I really like the way my life is. I want to just continue to grow more and more and more. Then in this regard, there is a very allegorical depiction given as part of an incident. There was this man, he was driving on a bicycle, very nice bicycle. He just got this nice bicycle. He is driving, down the hill, just rolling in, not paying attention to anyone, and he, by mistake, hits another man who's walking. Now, this other man was a giant. And this man, the giant, he picks him up from the bicycle, makes him stand on the ground and makes a line all around him. And he takes his bicycle and starts breaking the bicycle. He says, you don't get out of that circle. And now this giant is breaking, the handle. He looks at him, this guy is smiling. Oh, the giant becomes more angry. It's like, okay, now he's breaking the front wheel. Looks at this guy, the bicyclist, and he sees that the bicyclist is having a smirk on his face. What are you doing? It's like, why are you doing this? He's smiling. And now he's breaking the frame, getting more angry. The guy has a bigger smirk on his face. He's like, smiling more. And this is making giant more angry. And the giant's starting to break the rear wheels and everything is breaking the whole cycle apart. And then he looks back and the guy is, the bicyclist is smiling still. He's like, why are you smiling? The bicyclist says, you know what? When you were breaking my bicycle, I came out of the circle 3 times and went back. That is what is happening to the materialist. They're not realizing that this bicycle is this human form of life, this great boon that we have received. Yes, in another example, it's also revealing the time that we have. Because when this human form of life is spent in frivolous activities, trying to get out of the circle and trying to show this giant, who's none other than material energy, that I can do this without you knowing. Engage in all lusty desires, engage in heavy endeavor, engage in all kind of manipulation of material energy, so as to make some gains, which are just material gains. You cannot carry them with you after death. And then some people are feeling very proud that, yes, see, I have attained so much, while the whole human form of life is getting destroyed. We should be very, very careful, my dear devotees, not to let this amazing boon, the human form of life, slip away from our hands, from our fingers, just like that. We should take advantage of every single moment. Now, somebody could say, okay, all this abhadranis, all these, unwanted things, that whatever is troublesome, abhadreshu, nashta prayeshu abhadreshu. So again, all these troublesome things, they are destroyed. Then what happens? What is the advantage? Then we also have to understand that, yes, just like the purpose of human birth is to get love of Godhead, there is a purpose of our very existence as living entities, as jivas. And what is? Anand bhayobhyasat. We are all seeking happiness. So we are all seeking happiness. But then we are chasing mirages in a desert, just like animals chasing mirages in the desert. And there is no water. They're thinking there is water. They're going to the spot and yes, there is no water, but they see maybe it's further ahead. That's what this material energy is doing to us. They're setting us some specific material goals in our lives, and we are trying to achieve those goals. First, let me study. Then as I study, I get to college. Lord, let me, pass my college graduation. Now I've passed my college graduation. Let me get a job. Now that I've got a job, let me find a nice girl, nice family, let me get married. Okay, I have a nice girl. Now she wants children, so I'm engaging with all these things. They just keep coming on. We have covered a nice story in this regard. Once there was a great sage, and a young man comes to him and it's like, I'm looking for, gyan. I'm looking for self-realization. I want to understand this science from you. So the sage becomes very happy because sadhu, sages, they become really happy when somebody makes such an inquiry, if they are really eager to take to devotional service. And so he teaches him, he studies Bhagavad Gita with him and says, now you recite Bhagavad Gita every day. He gives him a Bhagavad Gita book. Sage was living in a cave. So he does, I'm going on a pilgrimage, but you can stay in this cave. You have this couple of sets of clothes. So you can wash one and wear one. And there's a nice fountain where you can wash this. You can just go there, nice waterfall that you can have. And then there are so many nice fruits and vegetables in the jungle that you can find, nice things. So you can live very nicely, stay in the cave, eat fruits and vegetables, and just continue to read Bhagavad Gita. And then he goes on a pilgrimage. Now this young man, he's reading Bhagavad Gita, but then he realizes something is nipping away the edges of the pages. He's like, what is going on? He realizes that actually there is a mouse in the cave that comes and starts to nibble on Bhagavad Gita. He's like, oh, this is an issue. I'm reading Bhagavad Gita. If he reads away the whole of Bhagavad Gita, what will I do? So it's like, I must get a cat. He goes and gets a cat. Now cat is keeping the mouse away and he is able to read Bhagavad Gita. But then the cat also starts saying, meow, meow, I want milk. So he's like, okay, I have to get milk for the cat. So he gets a cow. So he gets a cow gives milk, he gives milk to the cat keeps the mouse away, and he's able to read Bhagavad Gita. But then the cow needs caring. He tries to take care of the cow, but he's not so expert in taking care of cows. So he's like, maybe I should hire someone to take care of the cow. Okay, he hires a man to take care of the cow. So the man takes care of the cow gives milk, him feeds milk to the cat keeps the mouse away so that he can study Bhagavad Gita. But then he sees that this man is not really taking care of the cow properly. It's like, oh, this guy is lazy. He has to be instructed, he has to be disciplined. But then I cannot hire another man. What if these two men become party and then I will lose everything? That won't make sense. So I should get married. My wife will be more dedicated to me, and so she will watch this man. And the man will do his service nicely, take care of the cow, and then the cow will give milk. I'll feed that milk to the cat, who will keep the mouse away so I can read Bhagavad Gita. So he gets married. And the wife is taking care, is watching, the man taking care of the cow. The cow is giving milk, the milk is fed to the cat, and the cat is keeping the mouse away. But then the wife says, you know what? I want children, because the purpose of married life is to beget children. So he's like, yes, that's the duty. So of course now he has children. And she says, you know what? I would like to have some nice jewelry, nice clothes, and also children would need some nice care. So he's like, oh, for this, I should start a mercantile business. He sees that there's so many resources in the forest that he can sell and get money. So he starts, doing this, but he realizes that now he cannot do it all alone. So he has more people to take care of these businesses. After the pilgrimage, when his guru, the sage, returns, he says, what's going on here? He's like, and then he explains everything. So I have to carry out this business so that I have enough funds coming in and a positive cash flow so I can get nice clothes for my wife, nice jewelry for her, for my children, nice education, nice upbringing. And then my wife is watching this man who's taking care of the cow is giving milk, the milk is fed to the cat is keeping the mouse away. And so I am able to read Bhagavad Gita. But the sage says, after all these affairs, where do you have time to read Bhagavad Gita? He says, yes, true. I don't have any more time remaining to read Bhagavad Gita. And the sage becomes upset and leaves him. And then he's stuck because now he has created all this Maya Jal, the phantasmagoria around him that he can't get out of. So we have to keep our life simple. Yeah. Simple living, higher thinking. What was the tendency like this man who had this student had? He was simply thinking and hardly able to live. So again, we should not be doing that. We have to look at simple living and focus on higher thinking. Now, somebody could say, what is the benefit? So yes, we talked about that we are all seeking happiness. And that is revealed in the 19th verse. Tada rajastamo bhava kama lobhadayascha ye chetayatera viddham stitam satve prasiddhati. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart. So remember we talked about when all the bad things have gone out, your heart is empty. So what should it be filled with? So when we engage in devotional service, it's an irrevocable. So it cannot be just taken out from the heart. It becomes established in the heart. The effect of nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, they disappear from the heart. So all these abhadreshu, right? All these abhadra, inauspicious things that were there, they were because of these lusty desires and the hankering, like lamentations and so forth. And then the devotee is established in pure goodness. And he becomes prasiddhati, he becomes famous. No, not famous. Sometimes people say, oh, he becomes famous. No, it's not about the fame. He gets what we living entity are seeking as goal. Anand Bhayabhyasat. We are all seeking happiness. So in established in pure goodness, a devotee becomes completely happy. So he attains the goal of life, which is the loving service, the love of Godhead, and is in complete bliss. And when that happens, you don't have to wait to the end of your life. Your senses are automatically spiritualized. Your life is automatically spiritualized. And for this, my dear devotees, what is the secret? What do you have to do? Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. You have to regularly hear Bhagavatam, meditate on Bhagavatam, recite Bhagavatam. And Bhagavatam are two types, the book Bhagavata as well as person Bhagavata. Serve the person Bhagavata, pure devotee, one who's in the disciplic succession. And automatically the loving service will be unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead will be established in the heart. So that is one very important thing I wanted to cover today. And he becomes completely happy. And what is this happiness like? It is not the happiness of this material world. There is a beautiful verse in Bhagavad Gita, the second chapter. Matra sparshasta kanteya shitoshno sukudukhuda agama paina nityastam titikshasva bharata. Matra sparshasta kanteya shitoshno sukudukhuda. So just like, the winter season and summer season, they come and go. Agama apayano. So coming and going of this season is just like coming and going of happiness and distress. So happiness and distress in the material world, when we are being driven by fear, when we are driven by lusty desires, when we are driven even by duty, like this is my duty, but not realizing that the duty is related to the bodily designation, not with our true existence, then they cause this cycle of happiness and distress. And what is the effect of this? That we are always in anxious state, right? Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samah sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate para. There is another verse from Bhagavad Gita where in the 18th chapter, it's revealed that who is prasanna, who is happy? Brahma bhuta prasannatma, one who's at the level of Brahman, who's transcendental to this modes of material nature, rajas and tamo bhava. Right? Na shochati, one who's not lamenting about the past, na kankshati, one who's not aspiring to get something in the future. And both these things, lamentation from the past, the hankering, as well as the aspirations for the future to attain some specific goals, both of these cause anxiety. Anxiety in Hindi is known as, or in Sanskrit is known as chinta. It is a dot away from chitta, which is the fire, at the fire. So again, the final fire in which the body is annihilated, completely burned. So chinta is just like chitta. We don't want to burn ourselves. And we have to be very, very careful that we don't want to lament about the past. We don't want to aspire for the future. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu. And we are equally disposed to all living entities. That's exactly what we discussed today, my dear devotees. That we have to be humble in our dealings, tolerant to the waves that are hitting us, as well as amanina manadina. Don't think of trying to get recognitions from others, because it's unnecessary burden you're taking on your shoulder. Why seek for recognition from them? Carry out your duties. Chant minimum 16 rounds every day. Nityam Bhagavad Seva. Read Srimadbhagavatam every day. Serve the devotees every day. Do your services, devotional services every day. Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedam. The 9 process of devotional service. Shravanam, hearing, Kirtanam, speaking, chanting, or even reading is part of hearing. And remembering, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, serving the lotus feet of the Lord. So many devotees, they take care of the deities. So they are serving the lotus feet of the Lord, which is also Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam. They carry out the deity worship, which is Archana. That's why of Archana of whose? Archavigraha form, the deity form of the Lord. And Vandanam, singing, reciting wonderful prayers, poetries for the glorification of the Lord. And today we covered 3 of them in this Bhagavatam class. And Dasyam, serving the Lord in the mood of a servant. So again, Jivera Surupha, Krishna Nitya Das, we are eternal servant of Krishna. So that should be our activities, is for the pleasure of the Lord. So we are servants, sevaks, do seva, which is service, of Sevaya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Master. And Sakhyam, being friendly to the Lord and to Lord's devotees, and Atma Nivedam, serving everything for the pleasure of the Lord. So this is what we covered today, my dear devotees, that one becomes completely happy. Does it say partially happy? No, one becomes completely happy because Anand Bhaya Abhyasat, we are all seeking happiness. But this true happiness comes when we get transcendental loving service established in our heart, and that transcendental loving service can only establish in our heart when all impurities are there, because Krishna won't go to a place where all the impure things are there. So we also hear in Krishna, the 10th canto, and Srila Swami, he describes that actually the 6 sons of Devaki, they are representing these 6 kind of anathas, Kam, Krodh, Lomo, Mad, Matsara. And it is Lord Balaram who comes and cleanses the womb so that then Lord Krishna can come. So again, this is the importance of Guru, that when we shelter of Guru, our heart completely becomes free of all these vices, these unwanted things, abhadra things, inauspicious things. And then loving service is established in the heart, which is irrevocable. It cannot be just taken out. And when that is established, we are completely happy. This is the message in today's Bhagavatam class, my dear devotees. Tantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Devi, would you like to share something?
Hare Krishna, everyone. So, Prabhuji, thank you very much. You have very nicely touched on these gems, these beautiful verses, which teach us the importance of making right choices in Krishna consciousness, understanding what we need to do to work towards the real goal of life. We are constantly hearing about devotional service, And then today we heard more about book Bhagavat and person Bhagavat. These verses talk about Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. So there is importance of regularly serving the book Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat. And in this way, we can fill our hearts with the nectar of bhakti. I really loved it when you said that, how we can invite pure bliss, pure happiness into our lives. And with the help of these real life stories which you shared, Rakesh and Rajni and other stories, these are practical examples. It helps us understand how following the instructions from Guru, basically we have to follow Sadhu, Guru and Shastra. These are the companion for us in all stages of life. And following the instructions, we can spiritualize all the activities and cultivate much needed qualities. You talked at length about cultivating humility and tolerance. And, I was actually feeling very grateful. Tomorrow in USA Eastern Standard Time Zone, we are observing the great festival Gaur Purnima.
Yes.
It is birthday. It's appearance day of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the golden avatar of Krishna in Kali Age times. So he preached Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He recommended one should cultivate humility and tolerance. So it is but natural when we read all these beautiful pastimes in Srimadbhagavatam, we can understand if we want to advance in Krishna consciousness, we need to understand all these material activities, both sinful and pious, they automatically become distasteful for a devotee. And this is the test of Krishna consciousness. And these pious and impious activities are actually due to our ignorance, due to anarthas in our heart, like you were just sharing, 6 anarthas. And so if we want to revive our Krishna consciousness, that we are the eternal servants of the Lord, we need to rise above this platform of personal sense gratification. We need to regularly attend the classes on Srimadbhagavatam so we can cultivate the determination for engagement in practical devotional service. So this process of bhakti, the devotional service to the Supreme Lord, this is the ultimate solution. This is what these beautiful gems are from Srimad Bhagavatam are teaching us. So at this point, I would like to ask the participants if any of you have any reflections or anything from the session today which you liked, which you can mention. We have 5 more minutes to go. Please feel free, just raise your hand when we can call out, and you can share something. All right, Neeru Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Mataji, Prabhuji, that example was really beautiful when Prabhuji told that coming out of the cycle, of the circle that was drawn around, and he was told not to come out of the circle. And he was smiling when his cycle was being broken into parts. And this is what materialists are finding pleasure in. They are not knowing the importance of this rare human birth that we have got, and we are taking pleasure out of stupid things or like that.
Yes.
Was really beautiful. Yes.
Yeah, very much appreciate your thought. And at some point, we, as we read more and more from the sacred text, from the scriptures, and we observe other devotees, we listen to the wisdom stories, these gems, the more our intelligence comes to play, and we rise above like it said, we have to rise above the platforms of ignorance and passion. Regular classes, they enable us to be situated in the mode of goodness. So that was nice.
And there is another part to this story where, because somebody could say, well, a cyclist can go only so fast. And this world is vast. So how do you cross it? So in that case, we can understand that The sadhus, the sages, the guru, they are like these big giant trucks on the same road where other living entities are driving on their bicycles. And we have seen it in India. Bicyclists can just hold on to the ladder behind the bus and it's going at the same speed as the bus is going. Right? And even better is he can just have his bicycle put on top of the bus and he's riding in the bus without having to do any effort. That's a better way of crossing, this journey. And you can see that when people are in a nice, coach, nice bus, they can continue to sing, they can, enjoy the company and so much wonderful part of the journey instead of driving the bicycle outside in heat and rain and all those conditions. So again, there is another part of that as well. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Anyone wants to go next? We have a few more minutes left. We are happy to see Babina has joined. Babina, Radha, Sumita, Subhash, Amrita, Sanjay, you all joined a little later. So we really appreciate your presence, and every Wednesday till the end of month of April, Krishna willing, we will continue with different verses from Srimadbhagavatam. So at this point, if there are no other thoughts to share, we will wrap up the Srimadbhagavatam session.
Kantra Srimadbhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhagavad ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda ki jai, Nitai Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Om Tat Sat, Hare Krishna. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful week in Krishna consciousness, dear devotees.
Happy
Hare
God
Krishna.
Purnama.
Happy God Purnama to everyone. Yes. Hari Bol.